Hi, this is Jeanne Mayell, intuitive, from jeannemayell.com. And these are some 2019 prediction highlights. It's going to be a wild ride. I think that the word for 2019 is going to be more focused on the economy and on the final gyrations of Donald Trump. Let's start with the economy. I had predicted that 2018 would be somewhat volatile and end down. Well, I think it's been somewhat volatile. It has definitely ended down. Now, it popped up again, I think, yesterday, and that's great because I haven't seen a recession in 2018. And so it makes sense that we're not quite ready for that, but it's coming. So in 2019, I feel like the economy on the markets will continue to be volatile and gyrate, go up and down. I see these things called square root sign. Market goes down and then pops up, down and then pops up. And these are symbols of volatility. Sometimes it comes higher. Sometimes when it comes back up, it's not higher, it's lower. And in 2019, I saw a lot of these square root signs for the first few months. Finally, overall, near the end of the year, I think things are going to start to really head downward. It could be not until 2020. If you want details, come to the website. Market's skittish throughout the year, ending down, and if not down in 2019, definitely 2020. This is really the most dark thing that happens. You know, I had seen in a reading with a group of people lightning striking for 2019. And people have been speculating. What was she seeing? Why was she seeing lightning strike? Is it a nuclear war? I do not see that. Is it grid attack like an EMP? I have not seen that. Now, the fact that I haven't seen it doesn't mean it won't happen, but it's certainly not something I'm seeing. It feels more like it's going to be economic. And don't worry too much because ultimately I've seen the economy coming back. Once it goes down, it's not coming back for a number of years, 7 or 8 years. So 2028 is when I saw it return. The economy works a lot like this spiral that I've seen going down the drain. As the dark goes down and the economy goes with it, something positive is coming up. Something cleansing and new is coming up. Much, in my view, I think it's more grounded value systems. People really building things rather than fluff. And it's going to clean out a lot of negativity. Hopefully, if you are concerned, you will do everything you can to get rid of debt and keep your feet on the ground as opposed to fluffing up in the markets. Try to stay as grounded and stable as you can financially. And now let's look at Donald Trump. In the last few weeks, I've seen Donald Trump in this weird vision that I get that seems to be in the back of my mind. And it's kind of creepy. I see him bolt upright and stiff. And then he's got like 8 arms, and the arms are going around like he's conducting an orchestra. And it is kind of sinister. It's creepy. I feel like he comes under a trance when he needs to operate and get moving and save himself. And as the Muller investigation heated up in the last few months, I think he goes into these like intuitive trances where he just starts pressing this button and calling that person and flying over to Iraq. And, you know, he's kind of an evil genius in that way. And I also hear the word Beelzebub, which is the name of one of the forms of the devil. Now, he's not the devil, but he definitely goes into these sort of channels. Like I feel like I channel light energy, like angels and spirit guides, and I think he channels dark stuff, and he does it to save himself. So that's the vision I get of him. Now, how will that affect all of us? Well, I think that he's going to be successful in keeping himself from being removed from office in 2019. Remember, the Senate is the only body that can remove him from office, and they are controlled by the Republicans. And even though they find him to be, I think, distasteful, he's getting them what they need, and he's very clever about making sure that he gets them what they need and gets other groups what they need so that he can stay in office. So I feel they will support him throughout the year. Sometimes they shake their heads and they're like, oh boy, you know, but they end out supporting him, and they end out not taking him out. And that will not happen until we have a blue wave in the Senate. So I will skip a little ahead to 2020 because I've done a reading on Trump for the next few years, and it's posted on my website in an article. And I did feel he's still around in 2020. Things start to get hard on him in March of that year and April, May, but I really didn't think that he goes out of office until there's a blue wave in November. And he'll see the writing on the wall, because if the Senate is blue, as well as the House, he doesn't want to stick around. I can't tell who wins the election in 2020. I will definitely post that, and I'll be getting back to you about that when I start to see it. At the moment, my gut is that we still have another Republican president at that point, but it won't be Donald Trump. And that he will want to get out of the picture once he sees what's happened. Mueller. I'll look at Mueller and the Mueller investigation. I did get a feeling a few weeks ago, as did one of my most trusted colleagues, psychics colleagues who post on my website, that it was the first time I've actually seen there could be something that pulls Mueller down or pulls him back. I don't know what it is. I don't know exactly what happens, but I want to say one thing. The Mueller investigation has already been spread all over the place. He shared his information. He has many people working with him. The FBI is very loyal to him. He's also got prosecutors in New York City and other jurisdictions involved. So do not worry that our hero will not prevail. I feel that ultimately he will, but I just got something, and that there was an impediment to him, and I'm not sure exactly yet. So stay tuned. Come on the website. We have a forum. I have a forum, and you can find your subject, and you can even post questions yourself, and we all keep weighing in. I think I mentioned that Brexit in March of this year, while I was meditating on the whole year, I started getting like, whoa, around March. I don't think Brexit is going to be a good outcome for the UK. It's going to happen. And the authorities will say, oh, we've got this under control. They have to say that. It isn't good for the UK. And we need trade. We need free trade. It's Trump's tariffs. His tariffs situation is also not good. And both together contribute to some really bad outcomes for the world economy. But we need to learn a lesson, and we will learn our lesson, and we will come back from that over time, just not in 2019. Climate change is the other thing that a prediction of our world would be incomplete without. Even though the world is focusing more on the economy and on Donald Trump in 2019, climate change is what really is the most important thing. And it's the absolute reason why I even do the work I do, because for 30 years, I have seen climate change coming, and I've seen it as it's a make or break for our civilization. I mean, it's a cliffhanger right now because we know that it's surging. We know that it's going to get worse, much worse, in terms of sea level rise and storms. The seas are not going to rise up overnight, by the way. Some people worry about that. That's not going to happen. It's gradual, but it is accelerating. So it will, as time goes on, in 10 years and in 20 years especially, it's going to be rising up faster and faster. And people know this. Science knows this. So people are on one side of the political spectrum working very hard to try and do something about sustainability. I don't think a lot gets done in 2019 about sustainability, or even in 2020, unfortunately. But ultimately, this is the big kind of game changer in our world that will help us to calm down and see what's important. And so ultimately, we will get a handle on it. Well, Mother Earth is in charge, not humans. We are like little fleas, but we will get a handle on how to manage our lives and how to get by. I just don't see a lot getting done in 2019 or even 2020 to to increase renewables. It will, though. We will come around and we will manage, and there will be a massive movement in the 20s to tackle climate change, to stop use of fossil fuels as much as possible. There will be scientific inventions to help renewables use, much more widespread use of renewables, and rail travel around the world. And people, nevertheless, are going to have to deal with destruction that we've wreaked on the earth. I see a lot of migration in the late 20s, people moving, lots of moving. I also see in the 20s people, in a sense, turning away from the federal government. One thing the GOP has succeeded in accomplishing, and Donald Trump as their kingmaster has accomplished, is in turning people off to the federal government of the United States. And so there will be much more activity over time in state and local governments. There'll be a lot of migration. People will just say that the government's not helping, the federal government isn't helping us, so we're going to have to take care of stuff ourselves. And there'll be more and more of that. There will be a wonderful movement of young people. The millennials will roll up their sleeves. There'll be a lot more people into farming and into dealing with making food, because they're going to need to know how to do this. It cannot rely on these massive agricultural companies that don't really understand or care that much about finding ways to work with Mother Nature. So that's one of the positives, actually, is this movement, this migration, and a better life. And I'm actually looking forward to that. So that's my sum for 2019 and beyond. And come to the website and you'll see more, and stay tuned. Take care.